There's nothing more frustrating than recalling your dog and just watching them look right at you, and then deliberately fuck off into the distance. You know full well that they've heard you, but they still decide to ignore you. And it's always when it matters most. When there's another dog, when there's a pheasant, or they're just half the way across a field. It's quite embarrassing and it's definitely worrying. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 biggest mistakes you are making and that are accidentally teaching your dog to do this. And I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it for good. When your dog ignores their recall, I know it can feel quite frustrating, quite annoying, and you kind of have that sinking, heartfelt moment of, oh shit, my dog is not going to come back. It's especially frustrating when you've put in time after time after time of effort, blood, sweat, tears, the lot into training your dog to recall, but still they just couldn't give a rat's arse. Or maybe they are really good in some areas, but in others, they just couldn't give a shit. I know you're probably thinking they're trying to be stubborn or defiant, but I want you to try and look at this from their perspective. Introducing competing motivators. That squirrel just over there is a 10 out of 10, whereas your recall is probably around about a 3. And all your dog is really doing is making more of a rewarding choice to them. Your job isn't to continuously keep telling your dog off, because that's just going to create the opposite effect. Instead, it is to make us the 10 out of 10 choice. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a time and a place for punishment, but it does not come yet. And the whole point of today's video is we're going to translate your dog's value on to you. Mistake number 1 that I see people make time and time again is poisoning the cue. The recall cue that you are using right now potentially has become quite poisoned, meaning you've used it over and over and over again to the point where your dog has just switched off from it and it doesn't actually have the desired meaning anymore. Just word vomiting onto your dog and expecting them to understand what it is that you're asking isn't going to get you the desired result. And in reality, what it's going to do is probably just amp your dog up more to go off and gallivant into the world around them. Or you've used it only when bad things happen, so that your dog, when they hear it, they think, oh crap, I've done wrong. Or quite simply, it's just the end of fun. When do you usually call your dog back? Is it when it's time to put them on leash and then go home? Your dog learns that when they hear come, it means party's over. So of course they're going to hesitate. So you might be wondering, how do I fix this? And it's by a simple game that I like to call recall and release. This is going to change the dog's association with the cue and prove to them that coming back to you is not the end of fun or freedom. So I'm out here in what I would describe as a low distraction environment with Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and we're basically going to run through this drill now. So I'm going to be using Sid for this exercise, and it's basically going to entail that when he comes to me, I'm going to dispense some food, and it's going to equivalent to quite a big party, a little bit of a way in which we can interact with each other with food. Now, something that I want you guys to know is obviously when you introduce this to your dog, make sure that they're on a long line. Don't have them just gallivanting off, because as soon as you unclip them, chances are they're going to run for the hills. Sid obviously has reliable recall, but for demonstration purposes, I'm showing you the ins and outs. So the dog is in a release. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be jackpotting my dog, meaning when I recall him, I'm going to be dispensing quite a lot of food to him in short succession, building that value and desire in coming back to me. So what I might need to do is, just because he's a little bit of a sucky spaniel, I'm going to ping some food over that way, let him go and get it. Siding come, yes, present my marker, get my food, and present it to the dog. Rewarding him, paying him. He doesn't know when the food's going to stop, and that's the best thing about this drill, because it builds so much more desire in just giving your dog one boring piece of food. Now, a note on markers. I have given Sid his terminal marker, which you'll have just seen there, meaning the behavior has been completed. It's finished. I don't need the dog to come back to me for me to say yes and then to say his release marker afterwards, because I've already completed that by saying my terminal marker, as that means behavior is finished. And you can now go and do what you want. I'll get you another example in. I'm going to use my space. Side income. Yes. Marker given. Down to dog. For those of you at home, my hands are getting absolutely battered right now. Oh. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to quickly say that if you share your life with a pet gun dog, you can download my free Pet Gun Dog Handbook. It'll give you a clear insight into the why behind your dog's behaviour, as well as practical ways you can make meaningful progress starting from today. You can grab a copy via the link in the description. Okay, I'll let you get back to the video now. So waiting for a window, the dog's distracted. Try not to like maintain eye contact with him and stuff because that usually gets him to just stick with me usually. Side income? Yes. In for my marker. Down and dispense to dog. Ah! So for this next one, we're going to be doing a swap out from my jackpot, exactly the same drill, but instead, when the dog comes to me, I'm almost going to keep them with me for a little bit more of a duration of time. So I'm going to be luring the dog along with the food in my hand, keeping them with me, but making them just work a little bit harder for it. Now, what we want is the dog to be pushing into our hand. We want that intensity on the dog, pushing in, pushing in, pushing in before you release your reward. You're going to do that a couple of times. So we're in a little bit of some longer grass here. Literally, Sid's like bread and butter. He loves this kind of stuff because there's loads of things that he can hunt and sniff for. And when we get our recall in there, side income, yes. Get down to him. So lure, push, 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 push. Open and reward. You can really mix this up. It doesn't have to be as robotic as what I just did there. You can really get the dog activated and moving. I'm just being very cautious with my dog because he's quite snappy with his food, so I don't want to lose a finger. So again, when the dogs are out, chuck something over there, go and get distracted. Side income? Yes. So you got the dog, almost like you're dribbling with the dog. Woo! And that is how I would create more value in your recall with food. For this next one, we're going to utilize a toy. So something that you're going to have to change with your drills is before we were using our terminal marker, now we're going to use our toy marker, which for my dogs is get it. So we've got Reggie here, he's cutting about, doing his thing, running around. I'm going to recall him exactly the same. However, before he gets to me, I'm going to present my toy marker and the toy. So I'm going to let him run around, doing his thing. Wait for a nice little distraction. Reggie, come. Get it. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, love a little game of tug to really entice the dog in coming back to you. Drop! Now, obviously, I've used a toy marker this time, so I do have to release my dog. Break! So he's now free again. So I'm going to do one more repetition of that one. These blooming dogs to avoid me, but they're stuck to me. Where's he gone? Oh, he's there. Whoa. How'd you break? Go on. Reggie, come. Get it. Where have you gone? You've been knackered. Yeah. Wah. Oh. What's he got? Oh, super. So you can really elongate the game of tug as much as you want. Obviously, I lost him a little bit there, so just tapping back into him and getting back and switched on again to then interact in the game. Oh, he's so ferocious. Oh, oh, oh. Big strong boy. Drop. And there we have it. Break. that is how I utilize rewards with my dogs in order to increase the value of my recall. And if you did this 5 or 10 times on your walks, you're going to see a drastic difference. You want to make your dog coming back to you a rewarding pit stop and not always a final destination. The next mistake I see people make is asking for the impossible. What I mean by this is you are testing your recall and never really training it. You go from the garden that's very, very low distraction straight away into the park where there's all these distractions around your dog, expecting their recall to work. That's the equivalent of learning to drive in an empty car park and then going and driving through central London during rush hour. You're going to be setting your dog up to fail. The way in which you fix this is training for it purposefully, not just going out and expecting your dog to get on with it and understand that when you put them into a distracting environment, they're going to recall every single time. So how that would look is you start in a low distraction environment. When your dog is responding and you're getting around about 8 to 10 reps out of them that are successful, you're then going to want to add in some distractions in, of course, that same environment. And then when you've gained another 8 to 10 solid repetitions, you're going to go to a slightly higher distraction environment, which we would describe as medium level. And then you're going to repeat that and then go to high distraction environments and do the same. And the tip that I've got for you all is to use a long line. This is going to be your safety net, not to yank them about, but to prevent them from failing. The golden rule is to keep the environment to a low enough distraction so that your dog can succeed. And the purpose of the long line is just for what if. The last mistake that I see everyone pretty much make is the paycheck definitely does not match the job. You're asking your dog to leave a state-of-the-art pheasant for a grubby bit of kibble. The reward needs to always outweigh the distraction, or at least try to. Because let's be honest, nothing's going to compete with a pheasant, not even you, so we need to at least try and increase the chances. What is your dog's #1 jackpot reward? And if you don't know the answer to that question, your first job is to figure out what it is. So to fix the issue of the paycheck not equivalating to the job, we need to be the provider of all good things. So something that you might have seen is what we describe as the reward hierarchy. So your lower level could be a piece of kibble, the middle level could be something like a cocktail sausage, and the jackpot level could be a special toy that they only get for recalling. But the biggest misconception that I always see is that higher value doesn't always have to equivalate food. It could be a number of different things. So this could be a toy, freedom, or even kibble if your dog genuinely has very good food drive like my scribbles here. It's not up to us to deem what is high value, it's actually up to these little guys. So you need to figure out what that is and use it to your advantage. Something else that I really like to do is utilizing hunting as a reward, because if there's a lot of you out there with spaniels, you'll know how much they love this. So what's going to happen is as I'm walking around, I'm gonna wait for the dogs to be nice and distracted. Reggie's better at that than you are, Sid. Reggie, come! Send them off hunting. Good stuff, guys. Utilizing hunting is a game changer. You're showing your dog that coming back to you doesn't mean that they lose out on the fun thing. In fact, you are the one that gives them permission to do it. So to wrap up, here is a recap of the 3 mistakes. You poisoned your cue, you've set them up to fail, and your reward was simply too shitty. So for the next 2 weeks, I want you to do these 3 things. Number 1, stop using your recall cue in distracting situations. Instead, train your recall in environments that are going to set your dog up to succeed and not fail. Number 2, play the recall and release game in at least 2 to 3 training locations. And number 3, figure out your dog's jackpot reward and only use it for recall practice. A reliable recall is way more than a cue or having control over your dog. It's a connection. We have to teach our dogs that yes, there is all these exciting things around, but we are equally as valuable too. So start with these steps and you'll build a recall you can truly rely on.